Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my kitchen. You're in the kitchen with KK. My name is Kimberly Knox, and I'm just passionate about getting people back in the kitchen where real health is created for you and your family. Health is wealth. Once you create health for you, your community can thrive as well by you being a light. As a creator of the bioenergetic cooking method, we're really looking at the root of food as medicine or the science of food. So, how food provides those healing nutrients and information for all those different systems and organs of the body. It's fascinating. And once you understand that, it helps you to have a more mindful ness around food and what you select to eat and what you're putting in your body, thinking about your cellular health as you go. But I just love making healthy food delicious. We're going to be exploring spinach today. So spinach is on National Spinach Day, happens to be March 26th. So perfect because it's right after the spring equinox. Happy spring, everyone. We've sprung into liver and gallbladder season. So spring is a time when we're supposed to have that energy to spring forth with something new that we want to create and unroll throughout the year. A time to get new plants, to weed out your closet, to do spring cleaning in your house, clean out your refrigerator, clean out your cupboards if you didn't after the holidays, redo your pantry. I have lots of tips on how to do that in here. So spinach is fantastic. I've got a ton of recipes in here with spinach. I'm just going to name a few. We're going to go through some of the nutrients, and then I'm going to recraft a really quick, easy recipe here. So most of us have heard of steamed spinach, right? You'll get steamed spinach. It takes a ton load of spinach to steam into a mound. So you can be really respectful of how much that takes. I use some spinach in my garden fresh green lentil lasagna, as well as the last video I did with the dandelion green pesto, strawberry spinach salad. Why do we like spinach? Well, spinach was easy to see when we were kids. There was Popeye, right, with the Popeye mussels. So spinach is mild and it's a little sweet, but it's the bitter greens that the liver really needs and loves. That is why in my Green Warrior smoothie, I blend different greens so that you're maximizing your nutrients with dandelion, kale, spinach, and some watercress. So you're going to see a little bit of that here too. So, of course, in salads, a great mix here. This is in the kidney section. A great mix with arugula because arugula is a little more bitter. Fantastic mix there. In my sweet potato hash, you finish this with eggs and spinach. You're going to finish it with steamed spinach. You just put the cover on and you lightly steam the spinach at the end. It's perfect. My spinach and veggie quinoa patties, those are delicious. Simple, really great little thing to have prepped to take with you during the day. Butternut squash noodles with cashew cream sauce and spinach. Spinach is really easy to add in. You can do a Swiss chard instead of spinach. Both spinach and Swiss chard are going to have a little more oxalates than, say, dandelion greens. So it's just to know your different things, but the nutrients will outweigh the oxalates, and they all have tons of nitrates, which help create nitric oxide. Natural vasodilator, your heart needs them. And with all the minerals that are necessary for heart health, it's both great for your liver and your heart health. Spinach and mushrooms, stuffed chicken breast. You see, the list goes on and on. Fantastic. How else do I use them? Egg bites are really popular with my clients that I meal prep for. Egg bites are simple with meat and vegetables, whatever works well for them. But it's great to get some spinach in there. So those are fantastic. They're a great grab and go. A poached fish dish. That's fantastic. It's super quick. A great way to get fish. Keep it really nice and moist in coconut milk and spices, and you finish it with some steamed spinach. You just put the cover on. It steams real quick, as you know, if you've done it before. So, oh, my sweet potato black bean skillet. Yes, that's what we're making tonight. It's amazing. You can put it into gluten-free wraps, delicious with my cilantro avocado dressing or dip. It's just very, very delicious. And Tuscan white bean skillet. So that skillet can also, you can switch out with Swiss chard spinach. So you see, there's many different uses of this spinach. Now, there's different types. So sometimes people just like to grab a bag of it. Well, you wouldn't want to keep it in the bag because sometimes it gets starts to oxidize and gets all mushy. You want to use it quickly. So what I find when you get it in the bag is you're going to have these stems. Now, if you put a handful or two handfuls, about this much over maybe 2 cups into your smoothie, you don't care about the stems. But when you're making things, you might want to take these off because you don't want the stems in different dishes. So that's the only pitfall here. But these are triple wash and makes them nice and easy, tender. So there's other spinach too. So this is spinach. You just buy it like this, and let me grab it a handful. So so this looks a little different, right? So this is grown, but what you can do is you can just line it up. You can just trim off the bottom here. And now you don't have any stems and you've got all beautiful. We'll use this spinach for our dish tonight. Let me just grab this back here and throw out the stems. So those are some options there. And they'll sell this near your celery and your other stuff, and this and the other spinach is in the bag or in those containers. So let's get this skillet started, and then we'll talk about why we love some spinach, right? What are the nutrient qualities here? I thought I brought over my avocado, but I did not. So this is a good high heat skillet oil and roasting oil. The pan. So this is a nice all-pad stainless steel pan. I also have the copper core, super heavy though, and it's really heavy on the wrist, but this has been heating up so it's ready so the onions can start to sizzle. Now what I'm doing is meal prep is fantastic. I had already made this dish, but I had extra sweet potatoes. These are garnet and purple. The purple sweet potatoes loaded in antioxidants. That purple is your anthocyanins, right? Here, the orange is your beta carotene, which gets converted to vitamin A. We need all this. The liver needs all these. And besides those vitamins, there's plenty of minerals in here as well. But so this is a great, this is a 30-ounce meal prep container. I use these all the time. I use them for my clients. Get them, have them. You need glass. Throw out all your plastic. In fact, that's what you can do this spring as part of your cleaning is get rid of all the plastic. Get rid of plastic water bottles. You can fill up at Prevo. You can look into getting a reverse osmosis for your home. Many different things you can do for your health this spring. So we're going to let that get nice and fragrant. Let me just grab one of these cute little spatulas right here. Having a variety of silicone spatulas are really helpful. We're going to let these get translucent. Then we're going to add in the garlic. So spinach, nutritional powerhouse. It always has been. In fact, all greens are a nutritional powerhouse. And green, that's why I'm wearing green. Green is the color of spring. Dark green, you'll see in my cookbook, all of the color coding on the edge of the pages, the gallbladder and liver specifically green and even darker green. So yes, health is wealth. Green is your gold. And so definitely a lot of vitamin A, all right? Vitamin C, vitamin K, particularly. Lots of folate. They are higher in folate than kale. Good amount of iron, magnesium, and potassium. And those two minerals particularly, we tend to run low in. Most Americans, 75% or more, are low in magnesium and potassium. We need these minerals for heart health. So, and to lower anxiety. Folate's necessary for liver, for that, to finish off that detoxification process. And and how you're methylating is how quickly your liver is processing everything, all toxins, all food, and the like. So what else? Of course, lots of antioxidants. Lutein and zeaxanthin have come into light a lot more because of eye health. They're trying to sell it in tablets. Well, let me just tell you, the body loves food first. Synergistically, it loves to get its nutrients from food first. There are certain vitamins that leave our body because they're water soluble, particularly vitamin C and the B vitamins. So those are definitely a necessity to supplement with. So definitely we've got support of the liver, vision health, bone health, cell growth, and your immune system, all of that. Your immune system target, of course, your liver area there. Nitrates, I already talked about that. So now just to compare with dandelions, and I do love my dandelions, and I just made a dandelion pesto for you. This is the king of greens. It is the green of spring, and it is so important. I actually do a whole talk on it. I made like a whole thing here, but this is why I combine dandelion greens and why you want to chop some up and get them into your salads along with spinach and kale, or put them into your smoothies. 14% more protein than both spinach and kale. Well, we know that spinach is a good source of all these vitamins, but and minerals. It's got 9 times the amount of iron as kale and twice as the iron as spinach. Spinach has way more iron than kale, but dandelion still outnumbers 4 times the calcium as spinach and 3 times the calcium as kale, and more potassium than kale. But spinach is still a powerhouse compared to kale in those 2 categories, although vitamin K, kale is going to be the winner. So you see, there is a benefit of mixing your greens and trying some new ones. And that's what you should be doing this springtime, is trying out some new greens. So our onions are getting translucent here. My little countertop burners. We're going to be adding in the garlic, letting these get nice and fragrant. And then I've already rinsed and drained the black beans. Now, if you say beans don't work with me, well, here's the thing. You got to prep your gut. Most common people have too much bad bacteria. And we need the bacteria, obviously, but we need more good bacteria than the bad bacteria. But they have a short lifespan, about 8 hours. So if you are doing some longer fastings and you're tightening that eating window and you're varying all of that, you're going to get that turned back around, especially if you're eating clean food and you're voting with your dollars, meaning you're getting rid of the processed junk that's not food, that's just feeding the bad bacteria. The food that is not necessary, white bread, white pasta. If you get it from Italy occasionally, you get that organic pasta. It's going to be it's a choice, but you're getting obviously the gluten, but it's you can trust it a little bit more. That's what I'm saying from Italy, if carbohydrates are not your problem. But white rice and the crackers, the cookies, the cakes, the pie, all of that stuff feeds the bad bacteria. So once you switch all that, your cravings will change too. That's why food matters. It changes everything so quickly. So these black beans and all beans, once you get your gut cleaned up, you can start to introduce. And black beans are so great source of plant-rich protein. Okay, and most people don't have a problem with them. Of course, there's going to be other vitamins and minerals, but the protein source are excellent. And if Stephen Gundry, Dr. Gundry, has scared you enough about lectins, you'll buy the brand that he recommends. And I like high quality brands. I never change from Edam. They properly pressure cook. They cook in seaweed. So this Edam brand is the brand that I do prefer for my beans. Now, we're just going to be adding the black beans to this mixture. Of course, garlic and onions make everything taste amazing. So now we're getting in the protein source. So this is a plant-rich dish. that you could do on a day, or women like the week before and the week of your cycle when you need to build more nature's carbs into your body to help boost up progesterone. That's perfect. When you have carb cycle days, let's say you're going to be doing like a 2-hour bike ride, great day to do your carb cycling, cycle the food in your body, and then you can lower carb on other days. But black beans are phenomenal, very high in fiber as well. So I still I use my dandelions quickly, but and I'll be adding these into a smoothie soon. But I do like to put my greens, some of them in jars, especially if they have the roots already on them. And sometimes when you get the spinach and they've just grown, when it's not in a bag like that, it makes sense to put them in a jar like this. Keeps them really fresh and amazing. It's like a plant. They're so gorgeous, right? So the energy encased in these, you can tell with the photon light, super, super high. We're going to be adding fresh cilantro to this dish as well. But this is a really quick way to take leftovers, and you can freeze those sweet potatoes too. Take leftovers and just whip up the dish here. So let me tidy up just a tiny bit, and we'll come back and finish up this really quick nutrient-dense dish, and you'll be on your way to enjoy more spinach, hopefully, over the next month here or so. Okay, so we are going to get into sweet potatoes here, and this is where you can get some new spices added into the mix here. You can put a little bit of broth in the pan to add a little bit of steaming. Definitely want some black pepper on this. Just a little bit of pink Himalayan sea salt. We've already got garlic and onion in there, but if you want to up that flavor, you can add a little bit more an onion and garlic powder. I love the Simply Organic brand. You've seen me cook. I have almost everyone in there. A Mexican Fiesta seasoning could be fun if you choose to add a little bit of that. You're welcome to. Cooking should be about your fun, your explanation, your exploration, and your creativity. It is a place in the kitchen where you can create and relax. All right, so we've already got the spinach. We've trimmed off the bottom. This is the grown spinach. We've got a couple of them that are a little longer. I'm just going to cut them into a little bit smaller pieces. And then what we're going to do is just put them on top here, turn the heat down, and add a nice cover. And now the spinach is going to wilt, and we'll be right back to then put them into this bowl, mix it up with some fresh cilantro. And if you want, you can make a wrap with this. You fill the wrap and just enjoy this. I did this recipe. I brought it to a friend of mine who flew from California. She had to get up at like 4 a.m. She didn't like any of the food in the airport. I brought it with me. The plane was delayed like 2 to 3 hours. By the time I picked her up, it was nearly 8 o'clock at night. I brought this recipe. She could not have been more pleased. She wanted to lick the container when we were driving home. So it's really nutrient dense. Kids will love it too. We'll be right back. So let's get the cilantro ready to go on. That's only going to take a couple minutes there. We're going to use the rest of this cilantro. I load up a lot at my farmer's market. So the rest of that can go away. And we have some beautiful fresh cilantro. A perfect topping for this recipe is, of course, a fresh avocado on top. And or you can blend up the cilantro with the avocado, like I said, with a little lemon, cumin, cinnamon. It makes a really good mix. And I'm not going to make it tonight, but it's a great sauce. Maybe I'll make it another time on cilantro day. So, but just so nice to have easy things to make that are really, really satisfying. So I don't do anything for April now except for buy her stuff. So my pot holder, I actually got this in the Vermont airport, but I do love her aprons. So easy to wash and to wear. So you see, this is just about ready here. You don't want to over steam the spinach. Just another minute or so. What else I'm going to put on top is fresh green onion. This also is right from the farmer's market. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut it down like a bonsai. I'm going to trim the whole thing because I keep this in the door of my refrigerator and sometimes it gets a little too tall. So then we'll just stack these up and cut them. So excellence is about what you do every day. So it's a habit, not a trait. So cooking, just pick a couple recipes and get excellent at them. The more you do it, the better you get. Do not have to be perfect. You just don't have to cut yourself when you're chopping anything. And you must have very sharp knives. So let's see, we got those all stacked up. Missed these. You can also use your scissors just to cut them down. They don't have to be perfect because we're not in a restaurant. We're at home. We're thinking about nutrients. So onions are going to play into the allium, those strong sodium producing, not sodium producing, the stuff that the liver needs. Okay, so this is looking really, really great. It doesn't take long to steam up your spinach. And that's why we added a little bit of water, or you can do broth. So now you just toss this around and the spinach is going to wilt. We don't want it over wilted. Put this into the bowl. Get this ready. For easier cleanup. Turn this off. This smells amazing. So you can see how this would make a really great filling for a wrap. I actually prefer the Siete brand cassava. It's a little bit firmer if we're going to use that, but I don't need the extra grains. And well, it's grain free, but I don't need the extra carbs provided from it. So now I just added in fresh, not cooked cilantro and sulfur. That's what I was thinking. So the sulfur type of like the garlic and the onions, those are really, really helpful for helping to grab onto toxins. The liver loves them. So everything we're doing here, this is just fantastic. So now we've got a delicious nutrient dense dish with lots of nature's carbs, but adding in the greens and getting us more of the nutrients and then the flavor from the cilantro fresh because we didn't cook it in here. It is just primo. It is a great dish, but I hope that this inspires you to get more spinach in. If you want to look into all those recipes I mentioned in my cookbook, I do have it as an ebook. It's fantastic. But think about all those different ways that you can use spinach that I mentioned. So thanks for tuning in. And thank you again for being here, of course. So give me a thumbs up if you want to transfer this on to somebody else who you think will be inspired by making nutrient-dense, delicious meals, getting healthy without anything strange, just real delicious food. Bye, everyone.